So no idea what happened there. No idea what happened there at all. Russ, the West Ham Network, hope you're safe. Had to put another... What's going on with this now? Had to throw another computer on. Unbelievable, Jeff. But hope you're safe, Well, thanks for joining us. Apologies for the delay. But yeah, literally, just the computer just said no. So I've had to quickly go and put another computer together and all that type of stuff. Anyway, it's happy transfer deadline day eve, everybody. Happy transfer deadline day eve, everyone. Lots of stuff coming up over the next 24 hours, 36 hours, including obviously we play Luton Town in the Premier League, their first ever Premier League game at home. We had Dave from When the Town podcast on earlier this morning as well. We had a bit about the Europa League as well, because that's tomorrow. It's all go. It's all go. And it's going to be an interesting... Yeah, good evening indeed. Good evening indeed. It's going to be interesting, I think, 36 hours. Or will it at all? Will it at all? You know, we've heard there was a news report just now that potentially we might be done. We might be done, but we don't know. We don't know what's happening. But what we're trying to do is give you the latest information on the on all the bits and bobs we have coming up. I mean, I know in the chat there's going to be loads of not bad. We got anyone else slagging me off? Probably. Put some coal in that generator, lads. Indeed. Wolves are trying to sign some players. They are indeed. Yes, Anton, I know. I'm here finally. Stel is not on loan. No, all service is resumed now. Russ has gone to catch the pigeon to send his messages. Well, it's the Beast of Hornchurch, surely. Yeah, no. So anyway, regardless of that, let's crack on. So we've got lots and lots of rumours and lots of potentials ins. We're not going to concentrate on any of the outs yet. How long left in the window, Russ, eating the time? Well, what we got now is 24 plus, say 10, 34 hours left, 34 hours of the transfer window. And don't forget to give it like Darren, good evening to you. Not only any streams, won't be on any streams, which is so unusual for me, as I'll be going to Luton away. Good on you. Well done at Kent, one of the 1,100 who will be going there. Fair play to you. Fair play for getting a ticket. Although technically it's not the worst game, lowest. It's obviously still Bournemouth now, but yes. Right, let's crack on. As you know, the Russy Rumour rating, the original Rumour rating, lots of rumours, as you can imagine. Let's start with one which probably isn't going to happen. And that is the... I'm just waiting for my thing to download because it was all on the old computer. Let's talk about the signing of Yuri Alberto. Now, this one looks like it's dead in the water now. Apparently, he had agreed a big money contract. Of course, he agreed a big money contract, which would have made him apparently one of the highest earners in the club for the 22-year-old Brazilian international striker. But by all accounts, that's now out. It's been ruled. X says we've pulled out and all that type of stuff. So it looks like this one isn't happening. We believe Tim is still in Brazil leading negotiations, which does tend to suggest other players out there we've been looking at, and particularly others forwards, but also other players in general as well. So I can't. So this one basically gets for me a 1 out of 10. I think this one's dead in the water now in terms of Yuri Alberto. Which I don't think it's, at the end of the day, he, 21 goals and 74 appearances. Yeah. I think he would have been good. It would have been interesting to see what he would have brought to the side, but look, we move on. It looks like it's a bit of a scramble to get a forward in. If we get a forward in before 11 o'clock tomorrow, we'll see what happens. But I just don't think, I think, by all accounts, Tim out there, I think he watched Yuri play as well for Corinthians when he was out there, but nothing sort of to pass really on that. But we'll see. You never know. These things happen, isn't it? You have very different when it comes to the crunch. When it comes to the crunch, stranger things have happened at sea. But it looks like this one isn't in. If isn't in Brazil, then he's out. Then isn't he out? If Steiner is in Brazil, then isn't he out? Isn't he out the way? Yeah. Well, that's sort of. There's sort of we'll come to there's other ones around. So there's other players we've been linked to, and it'd be interesting to see how it all works together. I think we're after Gamiras. He's someone I've been talking about. Santiago Gamiras, Mexican international. Great player, but I totally agree. I think we've left it too late if we're going to go back in for him. Unless we're going to do a pre-thing for January. There's a couple of players which you might are happy to wait until January to bring them in. Because they're good deals. So we'll come to them as we get through the last few. So let's go and talk about another forward. Let's talk about one I was talking about quite a lot, and that is Pedro, the Brazilian 26-year-old, I want to say. He might be slightly less than that. But he's someone that I thought we were looking at. He's heavily linked. He's good mates with Paqueta. He was at Bruno Guimarães' wedding. Good mates indeed. And apparently it's now we're looking at Pedro instead. By all accounts, it could be. I mean, the thing about the whole thing around Yuri was the fact that he was third-party owned as well, so it was a little bit dodgy. I think we've been down that road before with Carlos Tevez and Javier Mascherano, for example. So a little bit dodgy potentially, and Pedro seems more of a straightforward otherwise. Yeah, straightforward signing, in all honesty. But it's going to come back down to money. I mean, Daily Mirror have reported that Steiden stayed in Brazil after the Yuri deal sort of died a death, so to speak, to try and secure a deal for the 26-year-old forward. He's a Brazilian international. He has a £51 million release clause, though. And we won't pay that much, but maybe some sweeteners in there, maybe. But it's sort of getting a bit crunch time. He's got 94 goals and 197 appearances for Flamengo. Flamengo? Is it a Flamengo? Yeah, he's at Flamengo, isn't he? Yeah. Is it a Flamengo? Yeah, Flamengo. Yeah. If I keep saying it enough, it'd be, the truth. So proven goal scorer. I just don't think for the money we'll spend that money on him. I'd be honest. I think 60 million buyout. It's a good striker, good finisher. But I just don't think. I just can't see it happening. I really can't see it happening in time. There's so much to get through. Of course, Tim can be over there and push it through from that side. All the medical and stuff we can do in Brazil, but just a bit close to bone for me, I think, to be honest. Russy, the original rumor rating, has given Pedro a 5 out of 10. I think it's 50-50, as Lamar would say. Well, about now, I'm 50-50. Who else can we talk about? Let's talk about Hugo. He's probably the third in the trilogy in terms of potential players we could bring as forwards. Now, it depends what news site you read, whether we have missed out on him, whether we're due to miss out on him, whether we're going to get him. There's no denying there's a number of clubs after him. Apparently, one report I read said Tim was in France sorting it out, but I thought he was still in Brazil. So where the goddamn where is he? Where is Tim Steiden? Where is he, for God's sake? But the Evening Standard reckon that Eintracht Frankfurt are favourites to sign him. They're obviously also looking at PSG are looking at the Eintracht Frankfurt striker Colomani Randy, who's basically said I'm down tools completely for Frankfurt. He's trying to push this move through to PSG, with potentially Hugo going the other way. Could be a loan deal, maybe West Ham if the Frankfurt thing doesn't happen. He's someone obviously we've been looking at last window as well. So, probably out of the three strikers, this one's probably the most likely, I'd suggest, because of the fact that he is in France and he's not in Brazil, and it would be a loan deal rather than actually, but maybe a loan with an obligation to buy after a certain number of games and that type of thing. So, it's going to be interesting to see if we want to get any of them. According to Darmesh, we could be all, we're trying, but we could be all done. We know that Crystal Palace were also in the hunt for him, but they pulled out and are looking at maybe Leicester City's Iheanacho. He's a great player. There's no denying that. He's 21. He's got his whole formative years ahead of him. He's very strong in attack, and would be a really interesting player, really exciting player for West Ham fans to enjoy. But I just don't know whether it would suffice in time, to be honest. Russ is getting it 50-50, the Russy Rumour rating, the original Rumour rating. Let's have a look and see what we've got. Some comments. Let's go through. I'm not convinced of any of these. We're going to talk about Ronnie as well. I've spoken about it quite a bit. Any truth in the young? Well, I will talk about that in a minute, Ken. As said, we need to keep an eye on homegrown, so I can see Moyes going for Che Adams for Southampton. Going to cost us quite a bit of money, though, I think, because Southampton are not willing to do much business, although we did do some business with us for Flynn Downs, so it's quite possible. Honestly, never heard of this Hugo. Well, we've been all over him. With traffic control, Tim won't be in the UK. Well, that's all right. We'll just get him round. Russ, it's nice to hear we're trying to get these players. Surely one or two will work. I wouldn't be surprised if none of them work, to be honest. And even if they do, I think we've had a great transfer window, whatever happens. Jonas Wind, from Copenhagen. We were linked to him last year, weren't we? Thought Hugo said he didn't want to go to Frankfurt. When money talks, mate, we'll see what happens. We'll probably get a sad picture of Tim on the play of empties. Sell Cornet and get in Brennan Johnson. That won't happen, mate. I'm assuming that Stein is making moves with next year and the year after him. Same moves, maybe starting things up for the future. Yeah, I agree. Anyone else worried that we have 9 yellow cards and one? I think it's going to be the same as everyone. Others, we're no different. Forest wants 60 million and he's not worth that. I totally agree. So who's next? Who's next on the old Russy Rumour rating? Let's talk about Kostic. Filip Kostic. Now, Anton did a show last night about apparently us going in for Kostic, and it's sort of coming out of the woodwork a little bit. Now, in terms of latest, ex-WHU employee has confirmed that we have initiated contact. Contact has been initiated. And, he's someone that obviously we were heavily linked with last year before deciding he wanted to go to Juventus instead of Stratford. Nice, warm Italy or cold Stratford. Fair play to him. Obviously, tore us a new one really in the semi-finals of the Europa League year before last. And he played, I think he made like 37, 38 appearances for Juventus last year. This year, he's been on the bench and has been an unused substitute for the first 2 Serie A games. And apparently, he has been with his agent, who is Alessandro Lucchi, who was a Skamaka's agent when he joined West Ham. So we have a good relationship with them. He has basically tatted him around to West Ham. And by all accounts, Kostic is looking, saying maybe this could happen. The only thing it's going to come down to is the offer. Now, apparently Juventus want between 20 and 25 million for him, which I would never pay for that, to be honest. He's 30 years old. So he's in the twilight years. Appreciate I'm going to get comments about this is not the Red Bull model, but there's some big pluses, I think, with Kostic, and I'll talk about them in a tick. And I think that he could be a very interesting player for us and could solve a few issues. Now, if we got him on loan with an obligation to buy, I'd snap their hands off. The reason being is he's diverse. He can play left back, left wing, and wing back. He can play lots. So there's cover for Emerson. That means that Cresswell could leave and get him off the books. 1, because he'll have cover for left back. 2, come January, we have no left-sided players. Come AFCONs. If Cornet goes, which is what we goes to Everton, which is what we're led to believe is going to happen, then we've got Ben Rama could be going to the AFCONs if he's still here. Kudus could be going to the AFCONs if he's still here, but Kudus could be going to the AFCONs probably. We've got Ben Rama, all our left-sided players. So Fornals can obviously play unless he goes. Kostic can fit in there during the January, that period in the AFCONs. And he gives us, he's an assist king. He does, and he would be a last-minute deal which could benefit our squad. I genuinely think he would benefit our squad. The old Russy Rumour rating, the original Rumour rating, gives Mr. Kostic, give it 50-50 because it depends about the deal that's involved. Now, I can see in the chat there's some anti-Kostic. Not for me. Would be a good signing despite his age. I rate Kostic so highly. I think the boat has sailed. I'm sure we'll get Kostic. I'd rather Gibbs White than Johnson. Yeah, but he's going to pay for the nose. We haven't got the money yet, I don't think. Kostic, FF S. No, says GP. Cornet, Evans and Kostic to us. That's what I think could happen, Greeno. Plus, then you've got the fact is that you could then let someone like Cresswell go. We're definitely going to bring Lingard in, I think, in so don't worry about that. We need fullbacks, not just attackers. Will be good despite his age. Not for me. He's 31. His legs broken and tackled by Patty Shark. He's the Arsenal fan that told us to dream about Kudos being in. No, he hasn't indeed. Kostic is 30, 31, past his best. Definitely past his best. But 37 games, 17 goal contributions. That's what we need from that left-hand side. You got that from the right-hand side. I think left-hand side with Kudus, Kostic, that whole left-hand side could be completely redeveloped, and I like it. There must be a better left-back. Maybe, but at this time of the day, probably not. Ian Martin's gone very quiet in terms of him on loan, so I would say getting Kostic would probably mean at Cresswell. I totally agree. A loan would make sense. Could slip into wing, but he could play 3 positions, so no transfer fee too high. 31 very soon, unless it's a loan. That's why I think a loan would be good. I don't get the Kostic thing. Surely Martin's better bet. He is rich, but will we get him or not? That's the case. Will we get him or not? That's the thing. So I think we could. I generally think that's a good deal. And as Anton says, because Anton's got a hard on for him as well. I think it's a good player. And I'd like to see him. I just think he would offer us it. Otherwise, we go for Acuna. There's another guy we were linked with, Acuna from Sevilla, who's 31 as well. So I'm not sure we cannot find younger. We should be prioritising this area. I think that's an area we should prioritise in the summer, definitely, because I think we've got enough to cover now. And I think in the summer, that's the next thing we should do. And I think fullbacks is an area we'll talk about fullback anyway. We've been linked with, but I don't think we'll get him. But we've been linked with him. So who's next? Who's next in the Russy Rumour roundup? Let's go with Andre, not Peter Andre, not the mysterious girl, but the Fluminense Brazilian midfielder. Now, according to a few reports, West Ham have put a bid in for the midfielder. He is also attracting interest from Liverpool, and West Ham have apparently confirmed that they would be happy for him to stay with Fluminense until January, i.e. when the Brazilian season finishes. That goes from May to December. So in January, he could sign for us for January. So almost like a buy him now, loan him back for the rest of the season. Interesting one. Very good player, very young player, exciting player, and could be a very. Liverpool have been heavily touted for his services, and maybe it could be one if we manage to get past Liverpool and get this one over the line. Wouldn't mind that. So yeah, plus Kostic snubbed us, and now he's only interested because he won't be getting a new contract. Get injured, we could be screwed. All this flying around, we're only second to China on emissions. Need to plant trees to even it out. Well, indeed. In terms of gamer, I totally agree. So this one's sort of come out a bit of left field in the last sort of. It's something we linked with, regularly in terms of our Brazilian players we've been linked with recently. But I just think there could be something in this in terms of maybe him joining in January, buying now for January. Not a massive transfer fee, apparently, but again, we don't know. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. For me, I wouldn't mind having a go, and it'd be good to get some younger talent in there. Because for me, there's lots of young players we need to bring in, and it's not just bringing in the guys who, the people who are ready, who are Premier League ready, but just ones who can have a bit more something to look forward to, a bit different. It seems we love Brazilians. We do seem to love Brazilians. So, it's all good. Russy B gives old Peter Andre, you can't see that, 4 out of 10 because he's just a bit left field for the time being. And it's like, surely Tim, if he's negotiating this deal, should really be negotiating forwards rather than necessarily anyone else at the moment. But hey-ho. Hey-ho, we can't be helped. We just deal with the rumours we've been dealt with. Let's talk about Ronnie Edwards, some people have mentioned it. Now, apparently we've submitted an offer to Peterborough for Ronnie Edwards, the guy we've spoken about before. That's according to the Evening Standard. He was left out of the Carabao Cup victory over Portsmouth on Tuesday. And and that was potentially because of an impending move to West Ham. We had Sky Sports reporter James Savoda reported that West Ham have made an initial approach for the defender. The 20-year-old has been tracked by a host of Premier League sides. Negotiations between the club over a fee are ongoing, and Moyes looking to sign a player who could provide cover at both provide cover at centre back and stands out as a prospect for the future. There's no doubt this guy is destined for the top. He was part of the England under-19 side who won the European Championships and represented England under-20s at this year's World Cup. Not going to be probably more than £5 million, I'd say, his initial outlay. So, not a bad signing. And again, we've got the ones you can fit in now, but for me, Ronnie's one of the guys you can fit in for the future. That makes sense. Harlow boy as well. So, apparently he's keen about joining the Hammers. I don't know if he's a West Ham fan by trade, but I'm giving this one 6 out of 10. It may be a case that we buy him and then loan him back to Peterborough until the summer, potentially. I don't know. I do not know. Let's have a quick look on the old comments and see what people are saying. All day long and twice on Sunday I'd sign one for the future. We'll end up with Yuri, hopefully. Please sign Edwards alongside Harwood Bellis, two of the best around. Remember West Ham set up, they did. Rob Newman set that up with several sides over there, with the likes of Famares, with Flamengo, Corinthians, and Sao Paulo as well, amongst the sides who have been set up by by Rob. And that's one of the reasons why Rob Newman's still at the club, because apparently Tim Stidham was adamant. Rob set all this up, so Rob should be still involved in that setup. Apparently he's a West Ham fan, so there we go. Always helps, doesn't it? Always helps. A centre half, he's a West Ham fan. Like it. I like it a lot. So let's see what happens. And again, it wouldn't break the bank really in terms of money. And I think, one for the future. And you'd get decent money back for him. Even if you didn't do it, if you find him for 5, you could sell him for 10 because a West Ham player. You double your money, no props. Let's talk about Barr. A new name. Alexander Barr from Benfica. Apparently, West Ham are battling Arsenal and Forest in the signing of Alexander Barr this summer, according to a report from Tipsbladet. The 25-year-old Benfica right-back is firmly on the radar with the Premier League sides. He's a Danish international, been capped 8 times. Available for £26 to £30 million this summer. He claims Hammers are one of the 3 clubs chasing the Danish international. In fact, West Ham are said to be leading the race for the 25-year-old signature. I've turned to our friends at Babbling Irons, and they were really hot on this guy. In terms of his ability. We're talking about getting decent fullbacks in. This guy would do. 28 appearances last year for Benfica. A goal and 4 assists, but strong tackling numbers. He's lightning fast. A good tackler. He's got lots of energy. Stats are off the chart, really. He's got fantastic stamina. He's only 20. He's 25, so he's coming into his peak. So this would be buying someone almost at their peak. And 26 million quid. I think you would make your money back on him. Definitely. But yeah, what have we got here? FFP won't be on your answers if you get. Indeed. Yeah, good point. That's a great shout about homegrown in terms of Ronnie as well. Tarbar, Russ is just making up. Tarbar Harbar. Alex Scott would have broke the bank. He would have indeed. I thought we wanted Tar. No, it doesn't look like Tar's coming. We said no Tar. They are the same player. They are not the same player. I reckon Tim went to Brazil as we have an agent over there. Tim is doing some secret squirrel stuff over there. Apparently some sort of Brazilian international former player was brokering a deal for Andre or something. I was half reading, but I only half read it. If you're watching, please give Russy B a thumbs up, says Anton. Please do. It really does help the channel and gets us into more people's eyes. And we've seen massive growth since this summer. So thanks everyone for joining us all the time. Much appreciated. But anything else you can do to help us just to creep over the next level would be great. Thank you very much. We're not spending 28. Not now. I don't think we are. I don't think. 64 thumbs up. 360 might as well be supporting Millwall. Unbelievable. You're totally right, GP. Give it a like if you're supporting West Ham, not just on here, but just hit the like button. Help us out. Thank you very, very much. Alexandra Barr, fantastic player. I just don't think for now. I don't think we've got any money for now. In all honesty, I don't think we've got any more money now. So it's a shame because I think he's a good player. Really good player. Really, really good player. Right, who is next? Let's have a look. Who we got next? I can't remember. We've got 3 out of 10. That was me. Jesse Lingard. There we go. Hey. So you've seen the reports that West Ham are set to accelerate discussions with Jesse over a short-term deal next week, as obviously the deal can be done outside the transfer window. Sky Sports reported the other day that talks between us and Lingard have been slowly progressing, and he continues to train with the club. He'll be able to complete the deal after transfer deadline as a free agent. Obviously, I said it before. If we get 60% of the Jesse we got last time, I'll be happy with that. If we've got a contract which is heavily performance laden, with a relatively minimum fee in terms of, a basic, and then based on appearances, based on goals, wins he's contributed to, that to me is absolute no-brainer, because obviously Lanzini's gone, so we do need some more homegrown, particularly if maybe Cresswell leaves. For Kostic, if that happens, he comes in, he's homegrown, he gives us that sort of Lanzini type role. I'm not saying he'd start every game because he wouldn't, but he would be a very useful player to have. And by all accounts, he's changed his ways. He's a changed man. He's doing left TikToks. He wants the West Ham fans to love him. He wants to start that relationship going again. He knows he made a mistake going to Forest, and he wants always been forgiven. That's what he's trying to do. So we'll see. Let's see what we got here. He's signing after the window. Yep, I totally agree. Short-term deal, end of probably. I'd imagine. Jesse is signing. I think we'll be getting anyone. I think we'll have money, but we have a terrible record getting strikers. Emergency backup when the Saudis raid us. 8 out of 10, almost a cert on. And actually, I think I've given him an 8 out of 10. What did I give him? 8 out of 10 as well. So there we go. Same as Kent. Lingard, the grifter. Moyes is planning from the outset to sign Lingard. I think so. By all accounts, Moyes brought him in. For the what's name for the transfer window, to train. But I guarantee it was always his plan to try and offer him a deal. Apparently, he offered a deal, and Sully hadn't even known about it yet. But I think so. I think if we get like any Jesse like back, I think it's a great deal. I think it's good. I think we've given him, in essence, he's been here for like a 4 or 5 week trial, really. And by all accounts, he's been doing really well. He's been knuckling down. By all accounts, also, Noble is almost going to be like his bodyguard, by the sounds of it. But we'll see what happens. Blue Manx are after Pac-Man again. Will they sign Nunez? I don't think nothing will happen with that now. Maybe in January. We'll see what happens, but I can't see anything happening like that. How big a wage we looking to offer Lingard? Doesn't say. We don't know yet. I'm sure that will be very much undisclosed, and then it will come out. If that makes sense. I think if you offer him anything, people go, "Oh, we got to offer him 10 grand a week, or whatever, or 100 grand a week, or 50 grand a week." Why are we offering him that money? But I think you have got a good player. You don't play that many games for Man United, don't play that many games for England, and you're shit. So, I think it's all about attitude with Jesse, and maybe he went for the big payday really when he went to Forest, and it didn't work out. And to then come back and say, right, okay, I effed up a little bit. I want to make amends. I want to knuckle down. Yeah. Maybe it's about 2 years, 3 years too late for him, but still, I I wouldn't say anyone could have a second chance. Do you know what I mean? Sally's will buy the whole club and all the fan channels. They can put a bid in for me if they want. I'll do £1 million a week. No problem. Anyone else who wants to be developed for left back? I mean, we still got Ollie Scarles coming through. I think it's a little bit early. That's why someone like Kostic makes sense because it's a short-term thing. If you bring in someone like Ian Marston's or Cameron Pring or someone like that, they're taking that place which Ollie can move up to. You know, Kostic, Emerson, you've probably got 2 years on them. That gives Ollie up to the age of 19, 20, hitting 21, perfect age to maybe take on the mantle. That's the whole idea of the pathway. So it's a short-term gain in terms of bringing someone like Kostic in for a long-term development. I think Ollie Scarles is the club have put a lot of hope in him coming through. Right back, I mean, you got Ryan Batcham, good player, but I just think right back is an area which I think we need to improve on. I think left back, as I said, I think you've got stopgap now, and then that develops into Ollie in 2 years' time. But again, we never really know. Jalen just suits our system very well. Is he homegrown? He is indeed. Please, no Lingard. And it's like taking your back a cheating ex with herpes. You know we're going to sign him, so just get used to it, mate. You know it's coming. If Tim doesn't get his start, does that water down his signings? No, not at all. Not at all. Because I think this is a bit lastminute.com, isn't it? You know, with a few days to go, you fly out to Brazil to try and tie a player who's got a very complicated ownership. He would have known about that. You know, the fact is he's got this sort of joint ownership. And I think Pedro would come. I'm pretty sure he'd come, but it's like it just seems too late to be, you know, he would come. If we'd signed him like 2-3 weeks ago, then it made sense, but it's just too long ago. Has to be 10, then been peeping the fan base all window. Don't want Jesse, but if he signs, he'll have my support. Exactly, fair play. He'll have Moisball in full effect. Even if we don't play him, I hear he's a decent for mop and bucket. I would take to work with the youth with Noble. Whereas apparently Noble is being he's like minder, apparently, to make sure he stays on the track, which seems a bit crazy for a 30-year-old to be doing that. But anyway, Stein is in Paris. Apparently, that's what I've heard. He's still in one report says he's still in Brazil. The other report says he's in Paris. So you can see what you want. Should play us to pay. I want to see Jesse force his playlist on Russ. Never going to happen. If Palmer is worth 40 million, Pac-Man is worth 100. Tried to nick him for buttons. They certainly did. Hi, Russ, not Ross. I don't know if you can remember me. I'm the guy that said, do you think Jesse will come back very quickly? You said no. I said I knew he would, and he will. Well, there we go, Ian. Well done. Well done. I didn't think he would, but actually he has, and he's fair play to him. You know what I mean? Does a favour during his loan spell, and with no play, realised the mistake he made. He's offered his services. It would be stupid not to give him another chance. I totally agree. Afternoon. I'm still furious over Baptiste. Yes, Baptiste looks like he's going to Man City. And again, that's definitely a homegrown thing, particularly when people like Cole Palmer have left. That to me screams of trying to get your homegrown. And Baptiste is a great player. You know, he's a fantastic player. He had all the attributes, but just went down the. Well, I don't know. I don't really know what happened, but he seemed to went down the whole, Ravel Morris type role. You know, he went a bit sort of off the rails a bit. But if he sorts himself out, hell of a player. Did Rush just lift these kilts to the Saudis? Do anything better money in me? If we offer Lingard a new deal, then there needs to be an option for another year. He's proven he doesn't play well in the 1 year. Give him something to play for, indeed. Frimpong, that'd be nice, but I think it's a bit too late now. What do you think we should get for who do you think we get for striker? I really like Pedro, but I don't think it's going to happen in time. I will be surprised if he signs I'll be surprised if we get a striker over the line before tomorrow night, in all honesty. I can see Kostic coming. If Kostic comes in, then you've got the ability to move Bowen up front. You've got Mbama. Ings doesn't seem to want to leave, so he doesn't seem to go. Unless the Saudis got another week, haven't they, in their transfer window, so that you could see some movement there. But I just don't think you'll see. If we don't get a forward, I'm not going to be disheartened. We've had a hell of a transfer window. I still think we'll get one or two more in. Whether one's a forward, I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kostic and Lingard come in. And again, they're two very good on their day players who can come in and make a difference to the squad. But you never know. Ronnie Edwards. I think if he comes in, it'll be good. We could sign Andre and then send him back to Fluminense and then get him back in January. Whether we, there's so many opportunities and so many possibilities. I mean, I think we're up to about 163 players. We have signed. We have been linked with this transfer window, and there might be a couple more before the end of tomorrow. Anton's going to be doing like any updates throughout the day tomorrow, just quick videos. So it's going to be very, very busy. When the ticket's going to be released, will they be hard to get? I imagine they will be hard, but it'll be a Tuesday or a Wednesday, either Tuesday 26th or Wednesday 27th. So Stein has cloned himself, one for Brazil, or maybe he's just sent Martin Noble out to France to get it done. Who knows? Is Jalen's confirmed out? No, that won't be confirmed until afterwards. Very rarely get amazed. Gifted sports, who always just sports people, musicians is one of those. He'll be transformed even when training is lifted. Everyone's spirits, 7 points. There we go. Stein has upgraded to the USS Enterprise, being at Scotty's Anywhere. Taylor Made, hope you're well. He got ill apparently. Did he? Oh well. Yeah, they got ill, but then apparently afterwards he sort of fell in with the wrong crowd as well a bit. Apparently, that's what they sort of said. Thought it was lazy, but someone paid him to see a specialist. Pedro is very similar to Haller, had a bad illness, provided his doctor, played a part in him going off the rails. Will we get a fee for him? I don't know if we get a tribunal fee for him. Any news if could do his place for Friday? I imagine he would be. Rang said West Ham are the teams to watch for deadline day. There we go. Maybe more outs and ins. 2-year deal with an option for a third. And if it don't get work out, we get a sell-on fee for him. We won't get any money off him. Knowing Moyes, he won't start Kudus. Who do you want in Europa League draw? There's some great teams in there. We still haven't figured out the pots totally. And obviously the final 10 teams get selected today. But, we could get Rangers. You could get Aberdeen. Panathinaikos, Athens. Looks like there's a good chance of getting a Greek side. That'd be interesting to see. We'll be doing that all the time, so keep an eye on that tomorrow with all the PowerPoint and dropping in the things and all the live stuff as well. Lingard wants to get the band back together. Well, one of the members isn't there anymore. Now we signed the Greek fella. Does that mean we have pulled the plug on Maguire? It does seem so. Batshuayi was at Palace, is being touted around again short term on low on option. I'd like to play Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock in the draw? Are they in the thing? I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's have a little look-see, shall we? Football. I don't even know who the teams are. So today we have got Aberdeen. Aberdeen are playing. Kilmarnock Island playing. So there you go. Ajax, Olympiacos, Sparta Prague, Union Berlin, Dinamo Zagreb, Slavia Prague in there, Sheriff are in there. Still some good teams in there. Russ, do you reckon Moyes plays 3 at the back? No, not yet. I reckon eventually when Dinos is back, he does. People forget Lingard was great in his first handful of games with a point. His last were very poor. You're totally right. They're not into good chances to Carabao. Lots of big teams. I think there's 7 all Premier League ties. So yeah, get to the 4th round, be great. Fan base has changed so much. Back in the day, we would never have forgiven. We would have had another Ince or Lampard. But I think because it was a loan signing rather than a permanent sign, it's a bit different. I think he will play either Kudus up front or Bowen up front with Kudus on the right. That's what I think might happen. I think, or even the option of, even the option of putting Bowen back on the left. Potentially. Also, we got the England squad has been announced today. Lukaku's joined Roma on loan. Don't worry, guys. It's okay. Don't worry. We won't get Ajax. Ajax will be in our pot. I think they'll be in pot 1, so we won't get them. Similarly, we won't get, I don't think we get Atalanta either, Scarmacker's side. So we're okay. Ario named to the French squad. Too bloody right. Sean said no strikers. He said there might not be any strikers arriving. Same as Darmesh. So there's nothing for sure. Yes, we're in pot 1 for Europe. We are top seeds. Go back and check out. This morning I put a little thing of all you need to know about the draw, what teams are being involved, when the dates are for the group games, all that type of stuff, how it all works. Very similar to the last 2 years. This is the last year it's in the current format. It changes format in the summer, as well as the Champions League as well. What's good, Russ? Will fans boo Lingard? Will we attack or defend? Who knows? Who knows? Could we get Liverpool? Nope. We can't sign it. You can't get anyone from your home nation in the group. So and Liverpool are in the top group anyway. So we wouldn't get Brighton, for example. Now West Ham players will be in the England squad. We could have two. Go JWP and Bowen if you get them on form. Anyone think we will be brought back to earth, their first home game, everything? Well, we had that conversation yesterday with Dan from When the Town podcast, and he's very he's shitting himself about playing West Ham because the two teams they've been turned over by are the two teams that we've beaten, and he's really worried. Now I'm not. Now I'm like saying, well, look, West Ham. This is a typical West Ham thing. This is typical West Ham. We could get down to earth, but we'll see what happens. So he's worried. He's worried. Moyes is like Southgate is like Moyes only chooses his go-to players. We were in pot one and we can't join any European teams. We're totally right, Michael. And the others we would be drawing would be Brighton because Liverpool in the same pot as us. Getting tickets to Liverpool early can't be very difficult unless you've got a high profile. Just over 10 allocation, I think, would be low. So similar to the Luton games. If Bowen isn't in the England squad, the Southgate should be sacked. Russ, I still have a feeling won't sign. It's been a bit quiet in that fact. I think we'll probably see how the season pans out. If the season pans out good, then I'm sure Bowen will end up signing. Imagine if Rangers plays in the final in Dublin. They'll get battered by the locals, PMSL. Good chance we could play Rangers in the group stages. Looks like Ekitike and Kostic are the targets now. I think they're the two most likely, and obviously J-Lings as well. And they will probably both be loan signings, I'd imagine. Can't see us spending any more money, really. But we'll see. Do you generally think we could get top four this season, or are we overhyping it? I think we have a good chance. I won't lie. No, I don't think so. I don't not the moment. I think that you can only really judge that after the first 10 games or so, isn't it? I mean, if we beat Luton tomorrow, we're a quarter of the way being safe, and that's how I look at it first. I do fancy us. I wouldn't fancy us for the League Cup this year. If JWP doesn't get in, but if Henderson gets in, that's ridiculous because of bloody. He's obviously in the Saudi league. That'd be absolutely ridiculous. Ekitike's class. When I watched him, he always looks great. Solanke is improving all the time. Well, apparently we have been the last few games. We've been scouting him, but again, I think it's too far down the line now. Is Joe Gomez a possibility? Someone we were looking at. I don't think it's going to happen, but in the same way we were looking at Harry Maguire, it didn't happen. So I don't think so. Genuinely, I just don't think there's. I don't think there's any. Just can't see happening. Anyway, peeps, we will have soon, hopefully, I'd imagine, Mr. Moyes' press conference for the Luton Town game, which we'll be putting out for Hammer's Headlines later on today. So keep an eye out for that. We've also tonight it's Thursday night, so we have got Thursday Night Live with the Have Your West Ham View boys. So they'll be on. Great show last week. They're one to that's their old one, their old son now, but they're going to be talking about their hopes for the transfer deadline day, and couple of brothers, really good show. Check them out. It'll be tonight at 9 p.m. And then we've got an absolute crap load tomorrow. Let's be honest. We've got previews. From Rich, we've got Europa League group draws. We've got the Match Day Live. We've got transfer deadline stuff. It's gonna be busy. So check that out. As I said, this has easily been the most enjoyable. Well, I think it's been the most enjoyable last couple of weeks. The first few weeks weren't great. With all these signings, Russ, what are you thinking? Will it continue next spring? I think it's giving them time to develop, Audi. Part of me doesn't want to throw kids in. we know Moyes has got will have a reluctance to do that anyway, and I to some extent agree with that. We've seen that with like Mipa or Rebecca, for example. It never worked. If the kids are right, you bring them in. So the fact with like Divine, the fact is he's still around. He's around the first team squad. He's one of the only people who aren't going to be available on loan by all accounts. And I totally agree that. The likes of Freddie Potts going to Wickham, and I'm sure there's going to be one or two. I imagine Callum Marshall will probably go to. They were talking about him going to Huddersfield. That's how you develop. It's not about getting 10 minutes here on 10 minutes there, in a cup game for West Ham. It's about getting games under your belt. So it's about going out on loan. So if he goes out on loan, we need not stopgaps. We need people who can fill in now. So that's why I think something like the Kostic deal, that to me ensures space for Ollie Scars to progress into the player we think he's going to become. If you rush him in, he won't do it. I just don't think it will happen. So we'll see. Do you think Edison will be better than Deck? Probably. Should cover when Africa's Cup starts. Yeah, great show actually. And as I said, I think that's why I think like Kostic would work in terms of covering for the AFCONs. I'm going to watch the rest of your video with a Luton fan. Yeah, good on. Yeah, lovely bloke. And he's been supporting that. He doesn't look old enough, but he's been supporting for since the 70s. And he's incredible the journey that Luton fans have got there. So fair play to them. As I said, if you're new around here, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Go back and check out videos later that we had this morning. There'll be plenty more coming up, mate. You'll be fucking bored of us. But the only way you can't miss anything is by hitting that bell notification and making sure you select all. And as I said, 9 o'clock tonight, we've got the boys from Have Your West Ham View, Thursday Night Live, talking about the transfer deadline, all that type of stuff. So make sure you go and show them some love tonight. Be great as always. And we'll probably have to have an early night tonight because it's going to be a busy day tomorrow and tomorrow night. But anyway, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, my friends. Thanks to our channel members, as always. If you want to become a channel member, hit the join button and you can apply for that. We'll have the next draw. We might even do that tomorrow for September, the September draw. And I've got everything boxed up for everything I haven't sent out. I bought boxes, so they're all boxed up. Much love. Bye-bye. Thank you.